Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to my fellow friends and Miss Jamira. I would like to introduce myself. My name is LAILA BINTI ROSLI and my part would be introduction and conclusion. First of all, I am going to explain about the withdrawal of United Kingdom from the European Union. Moreover, I am explaining mainly about Brexit and European Union. What is European Union? Based on the research, EU is a group of 27 countries who share monies, borders, and rules. In addition, it is a customs union which is all about selling things to each other, having open borders with each other, and rules that are set to ensure both of those things work. To be more clear, EU is a unique economic political union, also known as member states or EU countries. Next, what are the 27 countries in EU? The EU members are Australia, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, and the other countries as you can see in the picture beside me. Furthermore, there is a special relationship how the bond between US and UK is often described citing the common political, cultural, and economic interests between the two countries. However, the UK voted to leave the EU in June 2016, and that is how Brexit exists. What is Brexit? Basically, Brexit is the combination of the words British and exit, where the UK wanted to leave the EU. The idea of Brexit was introduced by Prime Minister David Cameron, especially when Prime Minister David Cameron announced the holding of a referendum to allow voters to determine whether to stay or exit the EU. The referendum was held on June 2016 and there are 52% voters chose to exit the EU. This followed and supported by the newly Prime Minister Theresa May with her praise of Brexit means Brexit.
Hi, my name is NURUL binti alias HASSAN. My metric number is 2022-815534. I will continue to explain on the scenario of the conflict and issue that occur after the Brexit. First and foremost, the immigration, refugees and asylum seekers. In early 2000s, there are various new states that joined EU and obtained the free movement right, which had led to the issue that there are a lot of people from other countries came to the UK and it's been quite sustainable change. For example, when the European refugees crisis happened in 2015, there are millions of people, which is mostly from Syrians, arrived in Greece and Italy to seek asylum. They do let them in, but there was a plan of fear too. Some people do think that immigration was a key issue, that they did feel it having a negative impact on the country, which not just on economic term, but also in social, political and cultural terms that had set the stage of Brexit. Next, issue on social and economic change. It's referring to the outtouch with that many British families were feeling for at least for a couple of generations. This is because in 1918, manufacturing in the UK collapsed and many of the good-paying union jobs were lost. In 2008, the global financial hits and the government brought an austerity measure. There were fewer jobs and cut to the social benefit. This led to many working-class people's life got harder, which brings them to another issue of an inequality and discrimination on the country. Citizens there think that government only do the things that make the benefit for them, not on the people on the country. Moving on, the third issue is the cost of membership. European Union (EU) members are either net contributor or net beneficiaries, which means that the net contributor referring to the being countries that pay more than they back, while the net beneficiaries receive more than they give. In 2015, UK was the second highest net contributor to the EU budget, behind Germany. The citizens said that economic benefits of being members of EU far outweigh to the cost of the membership. Over time, it has created a gap for every country under EU. They feel unfair, especially on the behalf of the contributor, who had to pay more rather than they get back. Last but not least, issue on Euroscepticism. This is a political doctrine that advocates disagreement from the European Union (EU). After the Second World War, the UK stood back and watched as Europe grew closer during the 2015s. By the 2016, the UK wanted to join what is called the European Economic Community, which is EEC, but been rejected twice. Finally, in 1973, the UK became a member. Since then, it had been quite uneasy relationship between Britain and EU, as we could see that there is rumor about wider dissatisfaction, distrust and disapproval related on the decision of UK becoming a member on EU. As I've been explaining before, we had 4 issues that occur the stage of Brexit in EU. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Carol and I'm going to clarify to you guys about idealism theory. So what is actually idealism theory? Idealism is a philosophical theory that emphasizes the role of the mind, but the ideas in shaping the world we experience. Idealism asserts that reality is not independent of our minds, but rather a product of our perception, thoughts, and ideas. Plato is considered as the inventor of philosophical idealism by ways of his belief that there is a general idea in the world of everlasting reality beyond the world of the senses, concerned mainly about life of human soul or nature. Hence, there are 4 assumptions of idealism theory. Firstly, reality is subjective. Idealism asserts that the reality is not independent of our minds, but rather a product of our perception, thoughts, and ideas. This means that the external world we live, experience is a projection of our own mind and our perception that shape our understanding of reality. Secondly, the idealism theory belief is that ideas are more important than matter. This means that the mind is the source of all knowledge and the driving force behind human behavior. Other than that, values are universal and objective. Idealism maintains that values such as truth, beauty, and goodness are universal and objective. They inherent in the nature of reality and not dependent on individual perspectives or cultural beliefs. Last but not least, reason and intuition are essential to knowledge also is the assumption that exists in idealism theory. Reason and intuition allow us to access knowledge that is not directly observable and measurable. So what can be concluded is that the relationship between idealism theory and Brexit can be understood by examining the different perspectives and values that have influenced the decision-making process. Idealism theory emphasizes the importance of values such as justice, peace, and human rights, and argues that these values should guide the behavior of the nation in the international system. In context of Brexit, this means that the decision to leave the European Union should have been based on consideration of these values and their impact on the common good. From an idealist perspective, Brexit could be seen as a failure to prioritize the pursuit of universal values and the common good over narrow self-interest. The decision to leave the European Union could also be seen as a rejection of the importance of international institution and cooperation in promoting peace and prosperity. Nonetheless, the idealism theory offers a valuable perspective on the importance of values and ideas in guiding international policy and highlights the need for nations to work together to promote the common good and create more just and peaceful world. That's all from me. Thank you.
So I will continue to explain to the positive and negative effect to the European Union in terms of security. If the EU want to protect their members, they should do it by joining forces and mobilizing resources. Not only that, in order that European Union also want to protect their cyberspace, they need to modernize their capabilities and do some advanced research, training, and also exercises in order to make sure their security is still under the control. By that, it can increase the effort to prevent, deter, and respond to cyber attacks. The EU has a strategic named 2020 Joint European Union Cyber Security Strategy for the digital decade that allows them to increase their resilience. In terms of job business, the EU is the largest trade bloc in the world. It is the world's biggest exporter of manufactured goods and services, and the biggest import market for over 100 countries. Free trade among its members was one of the EU's founding principles. Beyond its border, the EU is also committed to liberalizing world trade. The business market is also wider when business from one EU country are free to offer goods and services in another EU country without being based there. Unlike the Brexit, they have a smaller market where they cannot to expand their business outside of their own nation because the space of their market is not wider as the EU, as they need to promote their market on their own. Now I will continue with the negative impact of the EU members when Brexit happened. The first one is security. The loss of the UK is a significant loss for EU on defense. Some estimate that Brexit could reduce the EU defense capabilities by a quarter. So here, EU leaders now are working on plans to promote the EU defense integration. Perhaps through a European operation, all headquarters, which is a plan long blocked by the UK, while the EU members, which means the EU members lose a lot of security when Brexit decided to leave the EU. In terms of jobs, now that we have left the EU nationals wishing to start work in the UK will need to apply for European temporary leave to remain. A quarter of business currently employs staff from the EU, but half of the business leaders say they would be put off employing someone from the EU. After the immigrations on law change, a new survey has claimed. A quarter are also concerned the requirements process will become lengthy and it believe it will become more costly. So it is hard for EU members who travel or work in the UK to remain in the UK when all the law in the job sectors has been changed. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is SYAFIQAH binti ROZHAN and I will be presenting the recommendation and suggestion for EU when Brexit happened. While the withdrawal of United Kingdom from European Union can bring impact on a region around the world, whether a positive or negative, there are still some steps or action can be taken to solve and maximize the benefit to the United Kingdom. The first action need to be taken by United Kingdom is try to accept the trade deals with European Union. So UK and EU need to decide the terms and conditions for their future trending relationship after the Brexit. This is very important to the economic state of UK because the EU is the UK's largest and closest trading partner. To address this issue, the UK must reach an agreement with the EU that benefits them by avoiding any terms that reduce or increase the cost of trade between the UK and the EU. Establish a new form of trade relationship helps to reduce expenses if they rely on each other. The second action that the UK must take is to strengthen the country's security. The effect of Brexit will affect the internal security of the United Kingdom and the role of the United Kingdom as a main country in the field of security, along with its capabilities to implement new instruments and shape EU decisions in order to align them with its national interests. The worst also come after the UK want to maintain the same access to shared database as it does now in terms of security, but the EU says it is not available to non-members. Consequently, UK need to strike the deal with EU in terms of their security as the deal was incredibly important for the safety and the security for the country and its people. This deal is for avoid difficulty in terms of international crime as the United Kingdom has a role in the team that manage Europol, the agency that handles key investigation into organized crime across Europe. The third action that the UK must take is to propose a policy for women's protection. Brexit could cause a big step back in terms of gender equality in the United Kingdom. The EU has played an important role in the development of gender equality policies in the United Kingdom. The UK government must take a significant step towards reorienting trade and investment policies to focus on trade agreements that can truly promote women's economic rights by creating secure fair jobs. Furthermore, the UK government should promote to the business community women's rights organization in order to raise awareness of how trade policy affects women's rights. That's all for me.